Hey everyone, welcome back to the Great Debate and welcome back to the channel. I'm welcoming back 6 people officially today because that's how many subscribers I have. Pretty new to this channel. This is my second video. My first video was with my man Grass Singer catching some fish here about a month ago. But again, hey, I just wanted to introduce myself. My name's Ryan Tucker. I live here in the Kansas City area and lived here for over 20 years and have a daughter who's 11 and a new pup who's just 6 months old. That's going to be my companion during hunting and probably more of a companion during fishing. But anyway, I want to take this time. The topic of today is going to be around reels and specific bait casting reels that I've used. And I've not seen this topic covered, and I'm just going to tell you right now, like, I would put myself up, and this isn't even bragging, I'm actually embarrassed by it, with how much fishing YouTube videos that I watch in a given day, week, year, whatever it is. Guys, I've been fishing since I was a little kid, like probably many, if I do get any followers on this channel, are like just eating up with it, specifically bass fishing and tournament fishing and all that stuff. And so I just absolutely love it, incredibly addicted to it. And I think about when, where, and how I'm going to catch the next bass. So anyway, today's topic is going to be pretty interesting. I had this conversation with one of the guys I think at the end of my videos, JDM Junkie Brant, around Daiwa versus Shimano reels. And it's not really a competition, but it could be Ford versus Chevy or however you want to look at it. But growing up, I've always been a Shimano guy for no other reason that I think it's probably one of my first really nice bait casters I bought. I bought a Calais, I don't know how many years ago, but I think that thing cost $400. And so it all kind of started there. But anyway, when the DC versions came out, and I don't know when they were actually officially released, but I'm pretty sure I picked mine up two, almost maybe 3 years ago. But I remember when the new craze was coming out about the DC, and I was like, hell, I'll take all the help I can get. I've been casting a bait caster for years and years and years, but I know how difficult it can be in windy conditions, or if you're skipping docks or whatever application you're doing with a bait caster. The less overrun that you have, the less bird's nest that you're picking out, the more efficient you are, I guess you'd say, or you're just less pissed off. So I'm like, I'll take all the help I can get. But anyway, I bought a couple of the SLX DCs and I bought a couple of the Curado DCs. And overall, like, I've really enjoyed those reels. But I ran into some issues, and it hasn't been recently. It's just been really infrequently over the whole time that I've had these reels. And I've noticed it a couple of times this year, and specifically in late fall during the winter, where my line on the end of the cast, when I'm engaging my reel and my thumb bar is going up, it's catching the line. And when that happens, you are straight screwed most of the time. And it is caught underneath the thumb bar as it's engaged, so you are unable to turn your reel handle. And by picking it out, I've done it a couple times by getting it out that way, and there's no rhyme or reason. It just comes out. But you're typically nicking your line or weakening your line. But more than that, you're cutting your line. And, you're trying to make the longest cast possible if you're throwing a jerk bait or you're throwing a jig or whatever in the wintertime. And I've cut off, I don't know, hundreds of foot of line, if not yards. And that pisses you off, especially when you're using a high-end, high-quality line. And you guys know, it's not cheap. So I kind of, I asked some questions. I've been to a couple of the larger retail stores and talking to guys, and they haven't heard anything. And my cousin, who, I think he is a subscriber out of the six. That makes sense. That my cousin's a subscriber, but he has a few of the SLX DCs and Curado DCs, and we were talking the other day, and he has run into this issue, and so I may have mentioned I run around with a group of knuckleheads that are all bass heads that have come from different various levels of knowledge, and some are just starting, and some have been doing it a long time, but most of us at this time of year to cure cabin fever are out looking for new rods, new reels, new baits, etc. So I'm like, well, if anything happens, these guys will see this on this channel, and I'll just address it for the group. And if it's helpful for anybody else that ends up viewing this, then great. But I will show you the difference between a Tatula, which I have a few of those, and a Curado DC, and the thumb bar mechanism. And it's just a flawed thumb bar mechanism. It was incorrectly engineered in my mind. But then I sit here in Kansas City and I schlep software around. So, what do I know? But if I look at the Curado DC and I look at the SLX DC, and I've got a couple of the 300 non-DC Curados for my bigger baits, there is a gap that sits in between the top of the thumb bar that basically rides the channel down, but there's a gap there to where when that clicks up, when you engage, if you have a little bit of overrun, it can take that line and basically go over the top of it. And then you're done. So I'm going to show that, and I don't expect any comments back since I only have 6 subscribers. So those guys can call me. But I wouldn't buy another one right now. I wouldn't buy any design Shimano. Now, what I did do, and it's not an option for everybody, and it's probably not an option for me, but I did it anyway because I was like, who the hell cares? I bought a Metanium. A Metanium DC does not have the same thumb bar setup as the Curados or the SLXs. Nor does the Chronarch. The Chronarch is built differently as well, and it has pretty much a full bar that goes down through that channel, just like the Tatula does. I looked at some of the luge reels I have that has the same setup as the Tatula, so it just eliminates the ability for it to catch that line and go over the top of it. So anyway, I will show you. I'll take some videos of it. It's going to be hard to see, but it's just kind of getting it out there that if it were up to me, I would wait for Shimano to redesign that thumb bar for any of the new reels that are coming out. I like the price point on them. I love the price point on the SLXs. I think 180 bucks. And the Curados are maybe 250. I haven't looked at prices recently, but maybe 250, 280. You start getting up into that world of Metaniums, the Metanium DCs, and it's just a whole nother expense game, but you're paying for the quality, and I don't mind having a few of them. But anyway, hopefully this is helpful. I'm not going to tell you to smash or like anything because there's not enough guys out there. But that's really the purpose of this channel, is it's to bring a little humor, little humility. I make mistakes all the damn time. And just learn. So as I'm watching other guys do videos on YouTube and how I'm learning from them, I'm like, there's some stuff that I can share out there, and new things that I'm buying, new baits that I'm trying, custom things. It's really cool to see a lot of the custom baits that are being developed specifically in this area, that I've gotten my hands on, pretty early on, that I can't wait to show you, get their names out there. But anyway, this is going to be fun. Again, middle-aged man, probably in a midlife crisis, that's addicted to bass fishing, has a daughter and a dog. Enjoy. All right, guys, this is the Curado DC. I'm going to try to move this in pretty close. You can see the thumb bar mechanism right there. I'm just going to move this down really slow. You see that gap that creates, and then below it, there's a gap. So as I engage that and try to do this and watch this pop up, that's when that happens, is when you engage your reel. That is not one full piece like it is on the Tatula or on the Luz. So that's where that problem happens, is when you have that overrun, it gets caught in between there, and your line sits up, will get pulled up above that. So hopefully this isn't too hard to see on the video, but that's your culprit right there, is the gap below it and in between. So it's an issue. So I pulled out another Curado. This is not a DC, but this is their size 300 reel that I use for throwing bigger glide baits and whatnot. And you can see that it's similar, it's not the same thumb bar. As you can see, it's not attached there like the Curado DC and the SLX, but I pushed that thumb down and it still has that gap down there, and that's where that's still going to get caught. Now I don't know if I haven't run into issues on this one, but I throw my glide baits and big swim baits on 20-pound test anyway, so may not run into an issue here. Alright guys, this is where you can see on the SLX DC the example of that line getting caught in there. And as I click it down, there's no getting that. I can't figure out how to get that out of there. So it just is stuck in there. So as you can tell, the more, if you try to pull that through there, manipulate that thumb bar, I don't know, I'm thinking that screws up your line somehow, some way, and I'd hate to lose a fish. So that's an example of that. All right guys, here's the Tatula 100 7.1. It may be difficult to see this. I'm going to give it a shot anyway, but you can see the thumb bar and you can see that there's really no space in there. As I come down and push down, there's really no way for that line to get caught. That's not where it's really happening though. Where it's really happening is when it pops back up, and I'm sorry that this is all over the place. There's just nowhere for the line to get caught on this reel. I just don't see it. All right, guys. Well, there's kind of the example of what I was talking about. Again, I just think it's a thumb bar engineering kind of issue, and the only way around it is, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but clearly the heavier line, just from a physics standpoint, is going to be, it's just not going to be as easy to get caught up in there. So lighter line, and that's what I've seen when I'm throwing 8, 10, 12-pound test line on in the winter, early fall, and jerk baits, finesse jigs. But I think that these reels are going to find their place on a flipping stick and heavier line and clearly shorter casts, and get the use out of them that way, and then look for different options for reels that, I don't know, that are maybe in this price range, or looking at more expensive reels. I've got $100 Luz reels that I've been pretty happy with, to be honest with you. There's obviously clearly a difference between a $100 Luz reel and a Metanium, but there also comes the cost justification on that too. So anyway, I appreciate you guys watching, tuning in. I laugh about the smash and subscribe, but please do. To my 6 first subscribers, I'll never forget you. Peace.